So if you're shopping for compact SUVs that are comfortable, that are efficient, and just easy on the day-to-day life, then chances are this is probably already on your list. That's why today we're reviewing the 2026 Honda CR-V Sport Hybrid. We're gonna go over the good, we're gonna go over the bad, and then we're gonna see how it compares to some of those other vehicles that people typically cross-shop. So let's hop on in. All right, guys, so we're better to start than talking about performance. So let me pull you on in. So you are looking at a 2-liter engine that is a hybrid system. This is running to a dual motor system. It's putting out roughly 204 horsepower. That then runs to an eCVT and then out to either front wheel or all-wheel drive. So while we're here, I want to throw a comparison up so you can see how does the 204 horsepower in this vehicle stack up against other key rivals in the segment. While that's up, just a reminder, if you move to a non-hybrid version, it's then a 1.5-liter turbo engine that's putting out roughly 190 horsepower. So if we're going to talk about horsepower, we should probably talk about torque. This vehicle puts out 247 feet-pound of torque. So I'm going to throw something up on the screen so you can see how does that stack up against other makes and models out there in the world. Now, whenever I mention that a Honda CR-V has either a CVT or eCVT, I immediately always get something in the comments section talking about that. So I just wanted to take a second to throw something on the screen so you can see what other vehicles does this compete against and what do their transmissions typically look like so you can understand how popular the CVT or eCVT has become. So I mentioned earlier that this vehicle lands in an interesting place on the lineup, and I want to talk to you about that for a second. So in the grand scheme of this, there are several different trims of the Honda CR-V, hybrids, non-hybrids, that sort of thing. So I want to throw something up on the screen so you can see what that looks like. Now, why I mentioned that this is interesting is because above this is the EXL, which is a non-hybrid, and below this is the EX, which is also a non-hybrid. So by climbing up and climbing down, you gain and lose things at the same time. Now, I'll go over this a little deeper as we get further into the review, but I just want you to understand where does this vehicle stand in the current lineup and what's above it and what's below it. All right, guys, so I'm down on the ground for two reasons. The first is I want to give you an opportunity to see what the 18-inch black alloy wheel that comes on the Sport Hybrid looks like. The second reason I'm down here is I want to talk about MPGs. This vehicle gets 43 in the city and 36 on the highway. So I'm going to throw comparisons so you see how does that stack up against other key rivals out there in the world. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to see what the front fascia of the vehicle looks like. You ever see a car and go, damn, that thing looks goofy, or ooh, that looks kind of mean? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the front of this vehicle. But while we're up here, I want to talk to you about 0 to 60 times. Because this has 204 horsepower and it's got exceptional torque because of the hybrid system, I want to let you know that this goes from 0 to 60 in roughly 7.6 seconds. So I'm going to throw comparison up so you can see how does that stack up against other makes and models that are out there in the segment. All right, guys. So in the front of this vehicle, you've got 41.3 inches of leg space. It's actually very useful. I'm 6 foot, 250 pounds. Let me show you what this looks like. When I hop in the front of this vehicle, I have got plenty of space to work with. I've probably got an additional 8 to 10 inches of leg room. So I want to throw comparison up so you can see how does the 41.3 inches of leg space in this vehicle stack up against other key rivals out there in the market. Now, in the rear of this vehicle, this is where things start to stand out. This vehicle has 41 inches of leg space in the rear. Very useful. You saw me, I had the seat pushed almost all the way back. If I hop in and sit behind myself, I can actually fit quite comfortably. I don't have to sit diagonal or do anything wonky with my feet. Now, related to interior space, I wanted to give you an opportunity to see what the interior looks like on the Sport model. You're going to notice that you have black with a secondary pattern and then everything is trimmed in orange. All right, guys, so if you're shopping compact SUVs, chances are cargo space is going to be important to you. So let's talk about a couple things. I want to hop outside of the car and first point out, you've got a tailgate on here, but it is not powered in the Sport Hybrid. So if you're looking for that, you're going to need to climb up to that EXL. Now, when we come inside of the vehicle, I want to point out a couple things. You've got 36.3 cubic feet of cargo space in the back of this vehicle. If you were to go down to the non-hybrid, that jumps up to 39.3, so just be aware there is a difference. I want to throw up a comparison to see how does the 36.3 cubic feet in the back of this specific vehicle stack up against other key rivals that are out there in the segment. So when you flip the seats all the way down, you now have 76.5 cubic feet of cargo space. It's a good amount of space to work with. My only complaint about this is back here, you've got this enormous hump now where if you went back a generation or two, you wouldn't have this. It would have been perfectly flat. Or if you switch over to the little brother, the HR-V, it's almost 100% flat. So the one drawback that I don't like about flipping the seats down in this vehicle. Now, from a lifestyle perspective, if you wanted to camp inside of your car, me as a 6-footer, could I sleep perfectly straight? Not quite, I need to angle or bend my legs just a little bit, but if I could work out this, it would be a comfortable vehicle to sleep in by myself. If there was two of us, we would just have to angle the right way. But while we're here, I want to throw compare steps so you can see how does the 76.5 cubic feet in the back of this vehicle stack up against other makes and models that are out there in the world.
Today's video is sponsored by 3W Liners, and they're all-season floor mats for the 2026 Honda CR-V. What makes these different from a lot of other mats is their hybrid design. You get a carpeted mat for everyday comfort, plus you get a rubber all-season mat for certain situations. The carpeted mat snaps into place right on top of the all-season mat. This allows for a combination of different options for different scenarios your life may present. They're custom fit, they lock into place, and they actually look OEM. If you want to check them out, I've got a link in the description. Use code JustinFuller and you'll save 33% off your order.
So while we're in the back of the car, I want to point out a couple cool things that you might not have known. So if you come to the back of the vehicle, the first thing I want to do is if you pull this panel off, you're going to notice that there is a tire inflator kit back here. That's because hybrid vehicles that are Hondas do not offer a spare. If you need a spare, you're going to have to purchase that additionally. Also back here, you're going to see this little funnel. Let me explain this, guy. If you come around here, the first thing I want to point out is this is connected to your door locks. The second part is if you ever ran out of gas and you were stranded, chances are you might not have a gas can, but you need a way to hold this open because there's two valves. There's one here and one deeper down. That is the function of this guy right here. Now, to add to this, if that door ever gets stuck, know that there's this little yellow wire back here that you can pull that will actually help you release this in case it ever gets stuck. So if you like learning about interesting tips and tricks on the Honda CR-V, I'd encourage you to check out one of my tips and tricks videos. I've got about 15 to 16 different things that I go over on the Honda CR-V. If you want to check it out, I'll throw a link down in the description. So I'm back on the ground for a couple different reasons. One, I like to get dirty, and two, I like to talk to myself in the middle of a parking lot. But really while I'm here is I want to talk to you about ground clearance. This vehicle offers 7.8 inches of ground clearance. That may matter to you if you live in a rural area where the roads aren't that good, or you plan to take this thing camping and get in a little bit of an off-road situation, that might matter. So I want to throw comparison up so you can see how does this 7.8 inches in this vehicle stack up against other makes and models out there in the segment. So if your lifestyle could possibly involve towing, there's a couple things that you should know about this vehicle. The hybrid model only offers 1,000 pounds of towing. Now, if you went to the non-hybrid model, you'd be looking at roughly 1,500 pounds of towing, which neither one is a huge amount, but that may matter to you. So I want to throw comparison so you can see how does the 1,000 pounds that this vehicle offers in towing stack up against other key rivals out there in the segment. All right, so I want to take a second to talk about something that I regularly saw customers struggle with when I sold Hondas. And that's understanding if I'm in this vehicle and I want to climb up a trim or down a trim, what does that cost me, if anything, and what do I gain or lose by doing so? So I want to do something. I want to throw something up on the screen to understand how much money will you save actually by climbing a trim, but what do you lose by climbing that trim? And then additionally, I want you to understand what do you gain by climbing that trim? Because you are going to gain some things. You're going to get leather. You're going to get a powered tailgate. You're going to get memory seating in the vehicle. You're going to get a powered passenger seat. There are some additions that you add, but they're more luxury, not related to efficiency. Now, the second part that I want to talk to you about is if I decide I want to go from the Sport Hybrid down to the EX, I'm trying to save some money. I want to throw something up on the screen so you can understand what do I give up by going down to that EX and how much money am I going to save? I want to say it's roughly $2,300. Now, you're going to give up some items, and including that is that efficiency, that hybrid system, but there's also a list of other items you're going to give up, so you have to be prepared for that. Hopefully this gives you a better understanding of why this vehicle is in such a unique spot inside of the lineup. I want to talk to you about audio systems for a second. This vehicle offers a 6-speaker system putting out 240 watts. So I want you to understand that depending on the trim level of the vehicle you pick will affect the amount of speakers and the wattage. So I'm going to throw something on the screen so you can see by trim which vehicles offer 6 speakers or 8 speakers or even 12 speakers in that top end trim. So they've made some changes in the Honda CR-V related to tech, and I want to talk to you about those. So new to this vehicle, there is a 9-inch touchscreen that lands in every single trim. The second part to that is all of these vehicles now offer wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Whether it's the base model, the Sport Hybrid that we're sitting in, or that very top-end model are all going to offer a wireless setup. The third piece of tech I want to talk to you about is a wireless phone charger. So whether you're in that base model, or like I said, that very top-end trim, all of them are going to give you this option. Related to tech, if we're talking about USBs, you have the 2 USBs up front, and then additionally in the back of the vehicle, you got 2 USBs as well. Hey man, I'm noticing that he's got the Play Store, and I've got Spotify and some of the normal things, but I've got YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, even ChatGPT. Well, there's a trick to this. This is actually a box that you would have to purchase. It's your one-car stereo, right? What you do is you plug it in and then you give it data. What I like about this is 3 different things. So the first is you can download streaming services. Whether I'm sitting still or driving, it gives me the ability to watch and stream shows. Great for long road trips, things like that. The second thing that I really like about this is for apps like Spotify, apps that you already may have with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. If I come in here first, I can type in a search even when I'm driving. But secondarily, it gives me all the additional data that you would get if you open this on your phone or on your laptop, right? So I can get like songs, popular discography, all of this different information. So what I like is that it gives you the full version of the app, not the cut up version that you typically get with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. The third thing that I really like about this system is it gives you some customization pieces that you don't get to take advantage of in Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in this capacity. So if this is something you're interested in, I'll throw a link down in the description. I just like what it does, and it offers so much for a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. So what's the verdict? Who should buy this vehicle? Let's talk about that for a second. I would argue that if you're looking for a well-balanced SUV, this is a solid vehicle to be on. If you're looking for excellent cargo space and good passenger volume, this is the right vehicle to be on. It's smooth, it's a quiet hybrid ride, and it's got easy-to-use tech. Now let's talk about the people that should probably look elsewhere. If you're looking for maximum towing, this probably isn't going to be the vehicle for you. If you're looking for the absolute highest MPGs, this probably isn't going to be the vehicle for you as well. Or lastly, if you're looking specifically for a plug-in hybrid. Honda doesn't offer a plug-in CR-V currently in the US, so it's not something you'd be able to take advantage of. In that case, I'd probably start to push you towards something like a Toyota. Now, while this vehicle fits the lifestyle of most, if you want to go camp in your car and take it off-road and just camp at normal sites, it would absolutely work. But if you're a seriously off-road capable camping person, this probably isn't going to be the vehicle for you. While it offers all-wheel drive, I don't know if it's going to be the ground clearance and all the accessories and things that you might need or want further down the road. I mentioned at the beginning, and I'll mention again at the end, the Sport Hybrid is arguably the sweet spot when it comes to the Honda CR-V and all the different trims. It's not the most expensive. It doesn't offer every single amenity out there in the world, but it does get you a lot of efficiency. It does get you a decent amount of amenities, and it comes in at a price that's not outrageous. So if that's what you're looking for, this is the vehicle for you. Other than that, you can use the comparisons to decide if this works or doesn't work. As we head up here, I just want to ask for a couple favors. One, I hope you press the like button because you like the way I present the content. Two, I hope you leave a comment. Let me know, what did you think of the front end? What do you think of the MPGs? What do you think of the sport trim and kind of where it lives in the midst of this? And then, would you buy something else? Or would you shop for specifically the CR-V? I know there's some good comparisons out there. Lastly, I hope you share the video so that your friends that are shopping for an SUV or maybe are thinking about trading one in will know about this. And then four, I hope you subscribe to the channel so when I produce content like this, you receive it. And when I talk about other products and cool things that you should know about, you'll get them. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Let it dance!